What's up, guys? Today we're going to be going over my lap in the latest community event at Bathurst. But first, we're just going to watch the replay. I'll get right back to you guys. Alright, what's up, guys? So we didn't get the first corner. Unfortunately, the replay doesn't save the first corner. But yeah, basically, all I'll say about that is you want to really maximize your exit onto the first corner because you got a big straightaway coming. So yeah, you want to basically get on the brakes like about 89% and trail brake into the corner, and then basically just smash the throttle and use all the track, and yeah, just really try to maximize the exit more than entry on a corner like that. But now going into turn 2, this is like the one spot where I really made a mistake. I think I lost nearly 2/10, like just this one corner. But I'll still show it anyway, and ideally what you want to do more, so let's try and show it in full speed. You'll see I kind of like turned in twice here, almost, like you can see right there. And I didn't use all the track. Well, I used all the track, but as you can see, like I had to make an attempt to use all the tracks. I didn't carry enough speed in through here, as you can see. But yeah, ideally, going in, you want to get on the brakes nice and strong. As you can see here, I got on the brakes nice and strong here, but still trying not to lock up. But you still want to get on the brakes enough to where the rear end will not lose control of the rear end, but you still want to get some oversteer. So as you come off the brakes, you want to come off them slowly while still turning, and that keeps the front loaded, and then you can just like flick it in. Unfortunately, I kind of did a double flick, and then I didn't get back on the gas in time, so that kind of cost me on this one corner. But yeah, we still got like a decent exit. We just lost some time in the mid corner. But then coming into this corner here, go ahead and show it in full speed. All right, so a common mistake even I started making when I first started doing this is just going full throttle through here, which in theory you can do. But you want to, okay, see how much this corner is cambered, right? You want to avoid this outside bit here, because like you want to use that outside because, you know, the corner is pulling you that way, and you want to be all the way off to the right because you got a left hand coming up. But like with the camber, if you get off on that right side, there's no grip out there at all. So as you can see, I left all this. Like usually you want to be using all the track here. And if I was maybe in a heavier car, like a GT3 car, maybe I would use all the track here. But like I found that like this, there was like no grip out here at all. So basically I found it's best just start letting off the throttle and like giving just a little bit of brake almost. As you can see, like we're already off the throttle here. We're already starting to let that nose just dip in just a little bit to prep us for the corner, and we're on the brakes. So going through here, basically, you want to use very light brakes because you see we're turning still while we're braking. So basically, what we're doing is just light on the brakes, and what we want to do is turn in while still braking and kick the rear end just out a little bit, and then just like get on the gas as hard as we can. As you can see, I was a little reluctant to get on the gas because it is quite slippery through here. But another thing that'll kind of slip you up is, so what you want to do, like, you know, thinking, you know, like you think you'd want to hook this whole inside here more. But as you can see, look at this camber here. Like, look out here. This is why there's no grip out here. See how high this is? And then look at the camber you have here, right? So as you can see, coming up here, the camber starts to run out. So if you keep turning left here, you're gonna run out of road, and you're not gonna run out. You're gonna run out of grip. So basically, at this point, you want to start trying to straighten out the wheel, because like as soon as that camber lets out, if you stick on that left side, you're gonna lose a lot of time. The rear end's just gonna slide out and exit. So you want to try to straighten your exit out. Alright, coming through here, this is one of the more tricky bits. It's just a lift and turn in. On this exit, you really want to try to straight line the steering wheel. So like coming through here, give it a little lift. I maybe could have stayed on the throttle a little bit harder, but I'm still not really complaining. It was pretty decent. But as soon as like you get here, you want to try to straight line like as soon as possible, because if you hit this curb here on the left, or if you hit that curb back there on the right, you have a very high potential of just throwing the car wild. And as you can see, I've sort of got the car straight lined, and you'll kind of see it still gets a little squirrely. This is another like one of the shady bits. Just want to get off the throttle a little bit. Try not to use too much of that curb, because yeah, if you hit too much of that curb here, it'll just toss the car like straight in the air. You'll lose like 3 or 4 tenths easy, or you might just run into the wall and get damaged or something like that. But coming up in this next bit, like you want to try to stay flat, but what you really have to do kind of is like sort of lift and let the diff kick in to help you turn, and then get back on the throttle. And if you watch my throttle right here, you see it's kind of left, just try to get a little turn, and get right back on the throttle. And it can be really easy, even if you lift all the way. Like you can lift all the way, and you can find yourself drifting way out. So you got to really work your turn in. You got to get a nice early turn in. Really focus for this apexer, which you can hit it. I don't recommend it, but you can hit it. But as you can see, we just stayed off of it. Like it is a smoother one, but if all possible, try to stay on the tarmac here. So coming up into this downhill bit is tricky for sure right here. So we'll go ahead and show it in full time, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. All right, so initially what you want to do is get hard on the brakes. If you get too soft on the brakes through here, believe it or not, you'll actually lock up the rears instead of the fronts. So you actually want to get too hard on the brakes, basically. Like I'm almost like 100% full on the brakes. And then after that, you want to like quickly come off the brakes and start getting on the throttle at the same time as you're getting off the brakes. And what that does is it makes the transition from braking to gas smoother. So basically, if you are off the brakes, you let go of the brakes, get on the gas, the diff is going to kick in real hard, and you're probably just going to hit this inside wall right here. That's probably what's going to happen. But if you, like, as you can see here, I'm coming off the brakes, I'm getting on the throttle, and that just settles the car, and it doesn't let the differential like just snap on you real hard. And at the same time, we're dropping gear and rev matching. That's really important through here. So like right after we get off the brakes, we're getting right back on the throttle. Like I said, we're completely off the brakes now, and we're not exactly trying to accelerate per se, although we are, trying to, straight line it a little bit, get a little extra time on the accelerator. But really what we're trying to do is just stay off the stay out of neutral, because as soon as neutral kicks in, it's just going to start, diff's going to kick in, it's going to start turning and stuff. So yeah, we're just trying to get on the throttle a little bit and then straight back on the brakes. And you can really use this curb right here. Yeah, so basically try to straight line, get as much of the car on that curve as possible. Let's go back a little bit. So yeah, try to get as much of the cars on the curve as possible. That way we can get a wider exit here. So this is one of those corners where you just want to like try to dab on the brakes just a little bit and get it turned. And you'll notice I'm on the brakes, on the throttle, on the brakes, on the throttle, and it's like constantly trying to get the car balanced. And this is one of the more tricky bits. So you see little brake, little throttle, brake, throttle, brake, throttle. So yeah, take a little brake, throttle, brake, brake, down a gear, playing with the gas and throttle, trying to balance the car, just barely cut through there. And okay, so the next up is one of the more tricky corners coming up. So this one, if you just go in hot here, what'll happen is you'll hit the bump. So you'll hit this bump here and you'll just fly into that wall over there. So yeah, we'll go ahead and show it in full speed, and then we'll break it down a little bit. All right, so coming right in through here, basically we're going to use this opportunity to slow the car down for that bump that I was talking about, and also try to get on the right hand side of the track, because basically even if that bump wasn't there, what you'll notice is you'll come into this corner, you'll end up on the left side of the track, and then you won't be set up for that long straight that you really want to get a good exit into this corner. So yeah, just get on the brakes just a little bit, trying to get it to turn to keep it hooked to this wall. And basically we're going to get on the brakes hard, not like hard all the way, but we want the front tires to not lock hard, but we do want the front tires to lock so that we're not getting oversteer. Because if you give too little brake in this car, I've noticed like the rear brakes work more than the front. Um, so yeah, we're giving it, decent amount of brake, but then as we start to come closer to the corner, we're actually going to start coming off the brake a little bit, and then we want the rear to engage, because basically when you're coming over this bump, you just want to lock the front brakes because you don't want you don't want to spin out, so you want to just lock the brakes to keep it nice and slow. When I say lock the brakes, I'm not actually mean like full just pounding them, but you do want the front to have a little bit of slip, and then after that you want to start coming off to give the rear some slip, and that's when you want to start turning in, and you actually almost want to pull a tank slapper through here. So this wasn't actually my best exit onto this corner. But yeah, like ideally you want to actually pull a harder tank slapper through here and really just like smash the throttle. But yeah, we still got a decent exit here. It was quite smooth, and yeah, you see we just, as soon as we're done turning, we're just smashing the throttle. Yeah, let's go through that one more time. So we're slowing the car down, getting on the brakes, getting it to rotate, and then right about this point is like we can see that when we get on the throttle, we're not going to hit that outside wall. It's not going to oversteer. So just get on the throttle. All right, and the next two corners, the last corner is not too tricky, but this next corner is extremely tricky. So basically, if you hit that inside curb, like you can hit the left wheel barely, but it'll just throw your car off. But yeah, like yeah, I don't really know what to say about this corner. It's just one of the more tricky ones. You just want to get on the brakes nice and hard through here. And once you start to hit about here, you want to start coming off and turning in, almost like a late apex, so you can just smash the throttle. But you want to slide it in a little bit, as you'll see here. Come off the brakes, slid it in, and just smash the throttle. That's the most important part, is getting on the throttle nice and hard in this car. So I'd say on this corner, you can actually utilize this inside curb a bit. It just depends on the entry you get. But I'd say it's the same as that second to last corner we just looked at. You want to initially get on the brakes nice and hard. And as you start to hit that apex, right before you turn in, you want to start coming off the brakes and really trying to work the oversteer. I kind of locked up the front a bit too much because I didn't come off the brakes in time. But luckily I had enough, I reduced the speed enough to get it nice and turned in there. So yeah, that was my lap at Bathurst in the BAC mono. I guess the main thing, like you'll notice, is balancing the car. You'll notice a lot, like when you get on the brakes, a lot of times you're getting on the gas before you're coming off the brakes just a little bit, because that way you keep the balance. That way the weight's not going from the back to the rear like really fast, because this car's so light that like just the little changes really affect how the car drives. But I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you learned something. Yeah, I'll catch you guys next time.